In this video, I'm going to go over the to work or not to work worksheet and just give you a few more examples if you need a little help going through this worksheet. So there is one example filled in. A person pushes a box horizontally across the floor. Is the work being done on the box by the man? Yes. Then in the next column, they give you the direction of the force and the distance. And is the work, if work is being done, is it positive or negative? They say positive because they are in the same direction, which is all great. The next part says, is work being done on the box by the floor? So here they're asking us to pay attention to the force of the floor. I would actually do these columns in a different order. I would start by drawing the force and the displacement on there, and then establish if its work is being done. It doesn't really matter what order you do the next two in because they're going to be kind of handled in the same way. But the big thing I would do is identify the direction of the force compared to the distance. Well, the box is moving across the floor, so we definitely know no matter what force is involved, that box is moving that way. Shrink the size of my pencil. But the force of the floor, which way is the floor pushing the box? I would say the force of the floor would be straight up, because that force of the floor is also called normal force. And since that floor is not causing that change, that's moving sideways, I would say no work is being done by the floor on the box. So no work is being done. Next question, girl carries boxes across the room. Is work being done on the boxes by the girl? Well, the girl is pushing the boxes upwards. That's the applied force. But the boxes are moving across the room. So I would say again, no work is being done. This next example is kind of tricky. Man climbs stairs. Is the person doing work on himself in the horizontal direction? He's probably moving at an angle. So he is pushing down to push himself back up, and he's pushing himself forward at the same time. This one is really tricky. So he is moving this way, and I would argue that he is pushing himself also this way. Each of these have a component. So I would say, yes, he's doing work in the horizontal direction. And yes, he's doing work in the vertical direction. Because each of these would be parallel to each other and also in the same direction. Now, if he were just walking, is he doing work on himself? I would say yes in the horizontal direction, but no in the vertical direction because he is not experiencing a change in the vertical direction. But for the stair question, I would say yes. And if you want, you could say that x component of the force is pushing him sideways and that x component of the distance is sideways. And you could also say the same is true for the vertical direction. And other people might have done this problem slightly differently. There's a few ways to explain this problem. Some people might have just stuck with the blue arrows and said, yes, overall work is being done. There's a few different ways to do it. You are just focusing on whether or not it's work. The force the man is applying on himself is causing a change in the man. So I'm going to skip these few examples. And I want to do... I'll go to the girl pulls a wagon full of toys. Is work being done by the sidewalk on the wagon? This one is a tricky question that can be interpreted a couple ways because what's the direction of the sidewalk's force? Is it the normal force that's upwards? Or some people would say that friction force is caused by the sidewalk. In either case, the wagon is moving this way. And if you say it's friction force is what the sidewalk is doing, then the sidewalk is applying a force opposite of the direction of motion. So I would say it's negative work. But if you're talking about the normal force, I should do that in a different color. If you're talking about the normal force, and the distance is still this way, I would say no work is being done. It just depends on the force you pick. There's no wrong answer in that situation. In a quiz type situation, which you may or may not see, we will be very specific about the type of force we are talking about. Part 2 of that example is work being done by the girl on the wagon. Girl is pulling it this way. Wagon is moving that same direction. So I would say yes, positive work. I am going to skip through, and you can stop watching this video if you feel like you've had enough. The key will be posted online, but I'm going to do a couple more examples of the trickier examples just to walk through with you. So next one I'm going to do is the person pushing a cart full of boxes up a ramp. Is gravity doing work on the boxes? Box is going up the ramp. Gravity is pulling it straight down. I would say no, because they are not parallel to each other. But some people could also say, well, a component of gravity is doing negative work. You could maybe call that the X component of gravity. So that is another one. That's a big question mark. You could say that X component going down the ramp, and I should draw that a little bit more at an angle, that X component going down the ramp is acting in the opposite direction, so negative work. Or you could say the fact that gravity is pulling it straight down, the box is moving at an angle up, no work is being done. But is the man doing work? Man is pushing it this way. I would say that one, without question, is yes. Man is pushing it up, box is moving up, positive work. So, person climbs up a rope. I definitely want to do this one. Is the man doing work on the rope? Well, what is the rope doing? Yes, he's pulling on the rope. He's pulling on the rope a lot to lift himself up. But the rope is not moving. So I would say no, because the velocity of the rope is 0. It has not changed position at all. So no work is being done. Is the man doing work on himself? I would say yes. If he is climbing the rope, that implies that he's moving up the rope. So since those happen to be in the same direction, I would say yes, positive work is being done. But then they're asking about gravity. Gravity is pulling the man straight down, even though he is moving up. Drew that backwards. So these are in opposite directions. So I would say gravity is doing negative work in this scenario. Just be careful when you're working on this worksheet. If they say they are standing still holding something, that is implying no motion, no movement. But if they say they are lifting something, that implies lifting off the ground. There has been a change. So just be careful on the words with this. And just practice identifying force and distance. There will be a key posted for you to check your work and follow your answers. And please ask your teacher questions.